especially in last 10 years, India has transformed. From fiscal profligacy, we have moved to fiscal prudence. We have now moved to surplus, fourth largest FX reserve holder in the world. The world is moving from globalization to protectionism. We need to protect our talent both from internal as well as external forces. In last 10 years, India has doubled its infrastructure. That moved India from 10th largest economy in 2014 to 5th largest now, and eventually will become 3rd largest. If India follows Singur model, there is limited hope for us. If India follows Sanand model, growth will continue. Good afternoon, and thank you WMG for having me over here. Whatever I say about India, please remember opposite is also true. About 1 kilometer from my office building, we have world's largest slum. And I can also see one of the biggest building in Mumbai. We are a bundle of contradiction. If we see over last 20 odd years, and especially in last 10 years, India has transformed. From fiscal profligacy, we have moved to fiscal prudence. And this year, the deficit target at 4.8% was ahead of market expectation. In banks, day has come where a small Indian bank called Shamrao Vittal Cooperative Bank has to say, SVC matlab wo American bank jo doob raha hai, not us. Inflation from double digit, we have become moderate. There was a time when Hindi film heroines used to sing Mehngai Maar Gayi. Now, no Hindi film heroine or Kannada film heroine will be talking about inflation. FX from crisis, pledging gold to secure loans. We have now moved to surplus, fourth largest FX reserve holder in the world. Infrastructure in the city of Bangalore, to talk about infrastructure. But please remember, I work in BKC. I have all the right to talk about infrastructure. From deficiency, we are moving to availability, if not in the city, at least outside of city. Most important is the mindset. Since the time Sourav Ganguly took his t-shirt on Lord's balcony, I think Indian mindset has moved from being tentative to confidence. And fortunately, we saw that in the Perth test match today. Yashasvi Jaiswal and played out beautiful inning. We have transformed from fragile 5 to fastest growing major economy. And obviously, there is a long way forward. Our challenge is not growth. Our challenge is uneven growth. 13 districts of India, including around Bangalore, gives half of India's GDP. 692 other districts gives balance half. 13 equal to 692 mathematically is not correct. But in real life, that's happening in our own country. When China betted, there was a betting pitch. Unfortunately, when our time has come, it's changing. The world is moving from globalization to protectionism. President Trump will only accelerate. Ample liquidity to tight or adequate liquidity as inflation roars its head. Zero and low interest rates to elevated or higher interest rates. I don't give them to environmental to now bothering about environmental. Unipolar to multipolar world. And disruptions, which is both in size and scale. In this changing environment, we have to succeed. How many of you have heard about this gentleman? Well, what a stupid question. How many of you have heard about a Desi Elon Musk? Forget about you, even Google hasn't heard about it. I tried searching for Desi Elon Musk and I couldn't find a single article on it. All credit to Professor Ashok Jhunjhunwala who introduced us to Desi Elon Musk. There are 7 kids in Chandigarh Engineering College, not IIT, a third-tier engineering college. They decided to make a jet engine. They raised 60 lakh rupees, 60 lakh rupee. And collectively, those 7 kids in Chandigarh have made a rocket engine of 4,500 Newton thrust. The commercial rocket engine market for putting a small payload in orbit is 25,000 Newtons. Will those kids, when they become engineer, be able to make 25,000 Newton thrust engine? Answer is quite likely, whether Google recognizes it or not. We have talent. How do we convert this talent into successful entrepreneur? How many of you have heard about or seen this gentleman? Unlikely. This is a Nobel laureate which India could have had, but we didn't. His name is Dr. Subhas Mukhopadhyay. He got double doctorate in reproductive biology from the University of Kolkata and University of Edinburgh. Unlike in those days where talent used to go abroad, he decided to return back to India and Kolkata. In 1978, he created India's first test tube baby while working as a lecturer in a college. That girl, Durga or Kanupri Agarwal, has very recently come in public to talk about Dr. Subhas Mukhopadhyay. More importantly, India's first test tube baby was created just 67 days afterwards, world's first test tube baby called Louisa Brown by Dr. Robert Edwards. Dr. Robert Edwards got Nobel Prize. We Indians ensured that Dr. Subhas Mukhopadhyay committed suicide. It took us just 3 years to kill an entrepreneur, to kill an innovator, to kill a scientist. That mentality we have to give away. Second, now many people know about him thanks to Mr. Madhavan. We have to protect talent even from outsiders. A small Google search about how many Indian scientists have died in suspicious situation gives this kind of disclosure. Talent is the only thing which can drive India forward. We need to protect our talent both from internal as well as external forces. Second, talent wants ease of doing business. And I'm not going to read any of these things, but please pray for our entrepreneurs. You have to maintain health record of your canteen cook. If I don't maintain health record of my 81 years old mother, that's fine. But if I'm running a factory and I have a canteen, I need to maintain health record of my canteen cook. The canteen wall needs to be whitewashed. And the definition of whitewash is as per the inspector, not as per the law. The door has to swing in particular direction under law. The workroom temperature has to be fixed as per law. Colors of official register for attendance, their paper thickness and ink both are prescribed under law. Wage slip has to be of particular font size. Restroom dimensions and driver uniform colors are specified under law. Drinking water temperature has been fixed by law. Anything below or above can put you behind the bars. Availability of spittoons. थूकदानी चली गई but कानून अभी भी रह गया है. And bicycle racks for cycling workers. These are some of the things which I have picked up randomly. All these things put our entrepreneur behind. This needs to be dismantled. Hopefully, we'll be able to improve ease of doing business that will allow us talent to score well. Talent, apart from ease of doing business, requires capital. And while this picture is not looking that sharp, it's essentially a desert and iceberg. Most of our entrepreneurs are complaining that we don't have access to capital. And Indians are having a large portion of savings which is frozen like an iceberg. Collectively, in first 21 years of this century, we have imported $373 billion of gold on a net basis. 1,000 tons import, 300 ton exports of jewelry, 700 ton किसी के लॉकर में, किसी की तिजोरी में. Now, gold smuggling, all of us know, was prevailing. And if you ever return on a flight from Singapore or Middle East, apart from you will find that rest of the flight is cousin brothers of Bappi Lahiri wearing so much of gold jewelry. Will it be fair to say that as Indians we would have spent $500 billion in import of gold and silver, diamond and pearls, officially and unofficially? Your guess is as good as mine. The World Gold Council has also given up on India. Their estimate of our holdings have remained at 25,000 tons for last 20 years. In first 21 years, we have imported 15,000 tons. Prior to that, your guess is as good as mine. Where is this gold lying? In tijoris, in safe deposit lockers? It's a frozen iceberg while our entrepreneurs are searching for capital. If there is a magic through which we can defreeze that iceberg, can Indian entrepreneurs get access to capital at a cheaper rate? Your guess is as good as mine. We can't blame government alone. All of us have to blame ourselves. All over the world, savers wants to make money. In India, ulta hai ekdam. Wherever there is an opportunity to lose money, we line up. For example, in cryptos, 18 crore Indians have traded and most of them have lost money. NFTs, lesser said the better. Futures and options trading, so many people have lost their futures in option trading. Online gaming, 18 crore Indians play games and majority of them lose money. Scam. There was a company called Pearl Agrotech Corporation Limited. Decades back, they raised 60,000 crore from gullible investors. In my mutual fund, I would have delivered 18 to 20% compounded return to investors. And I wish I could have raised money like Pearl Agrotech Corporation Limited. We need to convert Indian savers from just savings to investment so that capital could be made available to our entrepreneurs. Otherwise, we'll have to depend upon foreign capital. Today, if there is a good result coming out of India's largest automobile company, largest FMCG company, largest bank, largest asset management company, largest private sector insurance company, largest telecom company, largest FMCG company, there are more fatakas going out in New York and Tokyo and London than in Mumbai and Bangalore and Jaipur, because all those companies are majority owned by foreigners. How many of you knew this gentleman? He is the greatest fraudsters of all time, Bernie Madoff. Apparently, उसने $65 billion का चूना लगाया था. How many of you knew this gentleman? Well, he is Mr. Irving Picard, and he was given mandate to recover money from all the victims of Bernie Madoff fraud. He applied simple principle of money in, money out, and recovered $19 billion of Bernie Madoff's scam money. He went after every member of Bernie Madoff, including selling their personal belongings like clothes and bags. He went after estate of a deceased investor and collected money out of him. And he ensured that not even a single person lost money in Bernie Madoff scam. This is the rule of law. Now look at India, National Spot Exchange, 1991-92 Harshad Mehta scam. Where is collection? Where is recovery? We need to provide rule of law to our entrepreneurs so that they can create entrepreneurship. Our rule of law has to make significant improvement. Now, many of us had our motor cars with sun films. Most of us had some time back. One fine day, a court order came because some noble soul had filed a public interest litigation in Delhi where the court decided that under Motor Vehicles Act passed by Baba Adam or Britishers, you could not have stick a film to the car window. What was the loss of this decision? There were so many units which were making those sun films, all of them shut down. There were so many mechanics who were putting those sun films and having job. They had to shift. Collectively, we as a consumer were using those sun films because it was helping us save on our petrol consumption. India is a net importer of petrol. And at today's prices, we are losing about $1.5 billion a year because we don't want to put sunscreen films on our motor cars. Garware, which makes these films, is exporting these films to 56 countries. 56 countries don't find this as a risk. India is the only country which believes this is a risk. You can have dark windows, you can have curtains on car windows, but you can't put transparent films. From here, we have to jump to Bernie Madoff case recovery efficiency, and which is why it is so important to have judicial reforms which can assure investors and entrepreneurs that you can do your business. Many years back, you would have heard about ozone layer depletion. It was threatening the world. And fortunately, in those days, a Montreal Protocol was created whereby Western world provided capital and technology to developing world so that ozone depleting gases can be removed out of circulation and we can produce ozone-friendly gases for refrigeration. Time has come to create New Delhi Protocol, where countries which have already destroyed environment by emitting carbon gives money and technology so that developing countries can also pursue path of growth and we get money and technology to do it. As we speak, there is COP29 going in Azerbaijan. Developed world started with $100 billion. Developing worlds are at $1.3 trillion. Yesterday night, I heard developed world has come to $250 billion. But the need is $1.3 trillion a year. There is a need for New Delhi Protocol to ensure that our entrepreneurs have level playing field in rest of the world. Europe will come with green steel, green aluminium, and so many other green things to greenwash their own crimes, and we should not let that happen. Finally, we have moved from majority government to coalition politics, and there are few things which can happen in coalition government, few which cannot. And this will have different kind of impact on growth. Uniform Civil Code, population control, build kind of contentious things will be relegated to the background. Fair enough, we can manage that. Few things will continue to happen. In last 10 years, India has doubled its infrastructure. That infrastructure spending, including renewable energy, is creating growth that moved India from 10th largest economy in 2014 to fifth largest now, and eventually will become third largest. Digital India, we are first world country. Rest of the world is far behind us. Defense and R&D boost. With two special neighbors, we have no option but to keep on investing for defense and R&D. Employment, skilling, housing, all these things are continuing even in a coalition government. And the most important thing in the coalition government which has been achieved is fiscal prudence. Many other countries are spending their way out of trouble. We are one of the rare countries which has pursued the path of fiscal prudence. Between subprime crisis and COVID crisis, we are the only major economy in the world which has reduced its debt to GDP ratio. No other country has been able to achieve that. There are few things which will happen in true Indian style: 2 steps forward, 1 step backward. Asset monetization, dheere dheere. Free trade agreements, slow and steady. Ease of doing business improving, but we need to jump and we are walking. There are few things which are unlikely to happen: land reform, labor reform, farm reform, judicial reform, strategic divestment, GST rationalization, and few things may result into reversal of reforms like pension. The thing which we are doing well will continue to ensure that India remains fastest growing major economy. This will ensure that India grows at 6, 7, 8%. If one day we can do asset monetization, ease of doing business in a more better way, and also unleash reforms on land, labor, judicial, India will probably go into double digit of growth. Hopefully, we will all develop that political will. We can give confidence to our politicians that if they do this kind of reforms, they'll get re-elected. Then double-digit growth of India is possible. We have to ensure that while doing all these things, we don't score self-goals. Singur, everyone knows. Decades back, Tatas went there to set up a factory. They were thrown out. They went to Sanand. Today, Sanand exports about a couple of $2 billion of automobile. It has created jobs, growth, development. If India follows Singur model, there is limited hope for us. If India follows Sanand model, growth will continue. Why scoring self-goal is important or not scoring self-goal is important? Because we can't afford self-goals. This is data from RBI. Some states have moved from new pension scheme to old pension scheme. Old pension scheme basically defined benefits. New pension scheme is basically defined contribution. There are states like Bihar, Jammu and Kashmir, some in northeastern, where bulk of their revenue, bulk of their tax revenue is only going in payment of pension. This is when they are on new pension scheme and not necessarily all of them are on old pension scheme. State like Bihar pays 49% of revenue only in payment of pension. If we go back to old pension scheme, probably 70-80% of their revenue will just go towards pension. There'll be no money left for salaries, police, education or anything. The cost of scoring self-goal is so high that we better not score any self-goal. Finally, whatever I say about India, opposite is also true, because in one India, we have 3 distinct subsets. 1% of Indians live lifestyle of a rich nation like France. 27% live lifestyle of middle income country like Indonesia. And 72% live lifestyle of a poor nation like Uganda. Viksit Bharat should be a country where there's no one living in sub-Saharan Africa standards. Can this happen? Well, how many of you know this place called Bansilal Pet in Telangana, Hyderabad? This was a couple of years back where it was neglected. No one was bothered about it, even though it was a historical monument. Something akin to India prior to 1991. Great historical heritage, but koi dhyan nahi rakh raha tha. Today, the same Bansilal Pet is transformed into a tourist attraction. It attracts daily thousands of tourists. It's place of, again, historical significance. I hope with all the steps which I have suggested, in 2047, India will be like this. If we can do it in Bansilal Pet, we can do it in our country also. Thank you.